Hello everybody and welcome back to Gaming on Caffeine. My name is Isaac and we are back playing some FTB Infinity for episode 73, and today I want to start working with the extra cells mod, which is the mod that allows us to integrate fluids into our applied Energistics 2 system, and then I want to use that integration to start automating the production of stuff that require fluids in the crafting recipe, and then storing fluids and doing all kinds of cool stuff with the fluids in this mod pack. And to start with, I want to talk about this little section that I built over here. So what I want to build by the end of this episode is a couple of ender tanks. We'll only build one by the end of the episode, and I'll probably set up a few more between episodes, but I want to set up an ender tank from the ender tech mod. So if I go ahead and type in ender tank, to build an ender tank, we need an ender tank controller, we need the energy input and tank valve, as well as some ender tank frames and some ender tank glass. It's built in a similar way kind of to a big reactor. Now, the problem with building this ender tech tank, and basically, by the way, all this does is it's a really big tank that holds a lot of fluids. The problem is that it's very expensive to make, requiring tesseracts for all the different parts and a flipping heck of a lot of ender pearls and enderium, which we made last episode. So enderium's not really a problem. The problem here is tesseract, and this kind of links nicely together with what I want to do this episode, because to make a tesseract, the hard part is this bit here, the part that requires the fluid transposer sending the fluid that is resonant ender into the tesseract frame, and then getting a tesseract frame full, because the rest of it is fairly easy. Like, automating this is not hard at all. We have all the hard bits down, so we're going to work on automating the fluid section, and then we're going to kind of build these tanks and use them to store the fluids that we're then going to use to autocraft. So it kind of works nicely together, but hopefully that made sense. And to start with, we're going to make ourselves a tank. So let's just go ahead and grab this portable tank here for now, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it right about here. And basically what this is going to do for now is this is going to act as one of these big tanks. Eventually we're going to replace this tank with a really big tank, but for now we don't have the stuff to make the really big tank, so I'm going to put this one here because we need to have this tank here in order to automate the stuff for the really big tank. Okay? Cool. So, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make a fluid storage bus, and we're going to stick it on that tank. So if I type in fluid storage bus, we need one of these guys over here. Fairly simple to make. It is just a normal ME interface with some pistons and some blue dye. Turns out we don't have any of that stuff, but we should be able to make it fairly easily. We'll make a few of those because we are going to need quite a few ME interfaces today. I was fairly certain we would have some pistons in our system already, and then sticky pistons should be fairly easy to make. I'm going to use rubber instead of slime because we have 30,000 rubber and probably like 10 slime balls. Let's have a look here. Slime. Yeah, we got 4 slime balls. All right. So we'll take ourselves this little fluid storage bus, and now if we were to stick this onto the bottom of this tank right here, like so, and then we were to hook this up to our AE system using some smart cables, which we might have to request, and oh yeah, we can't use this over here, can we? We're gonna need some smart cables. We don't, thankfully, but we will go ahead and request like 32 extra, because we're gonna need a bunch of smart cables this episode. Now, if we were to do something like this, and I have gone ahead and hooked this P2P tunnel up to the original P2P tunnel, so it can now access all of the stuff, and it should work just fine. Maybe. But what should happen now is if we build a fluid terminal and stick it down over here, we should be able to see how many millibuckets of resident ender we have in that tank. It should show up in our AE system. So let's make a fluid terminal, I think is what it's called. This guy here, fairly easy to make. We almost have all the stuff we need for this one. If we do this, we do have all the stuff we need. And then if we go ahead and plug this guy down like so, it should light up, and we should be able to see all of the fluids in the system. Now, for whatever reason, this isn't connecting. Let me quickly try grabbing the memory card, because maybe I didn't connect it correctly. But it should be working. Settings successfully loaded. Let's try going home and reconfiguring this, because it might have disconnected or something between episodes here. So let's just quickly kind of shift right click on this room's a mess. We'll shift right click on this guy, and I think what I might do is move the ME controllers at some point to somewhere else, maybe even to the other dimension, just so we can add more of them and kind of configure them a little bit easier, because where they are right now, they're a bit of a pain to access. But if we were to go ahead and do something like, oh no, it's connected. Cool, okay, so now if we were to go back and check this guy, you can see that we have 500 millibuckets of Resonant Ender in the system. Now, the first thing I want to do is I want to set up a system that's going to ensure that whatever tank is here is constantly going to have an almost unlimited amount, or an unlimited amount of Resonant Ender. It's going to always be full and always have Resonant Ender to give to any other machines that need it. And the way we're going to do that is simply by getting a Magma Crucible, which is the machine that allows us to turn Ender Pearls into Resonant Ender. So Magma Crucible. We're going to make one of these real quick, and we're going to make the simplest version, not the extremely difficult to make version. Hopefully we have some Invar. Oh, we do good stuff. Let's make ourselves a coil, and then a leadstone energy cell frame, and then we can go ahead and do something like this. Now, what I did do between episodes is I did go ahead and teach our system how to make all of the machine frames. You'll see I also taught, actually, we'll go back here. I'll go back to the overworld, and I'll show you what I taught our system to make, because in order to make a lot of the stuff for the ender tanks, and again, this is kind of where all of the auto crafting comes in, you can see that we need resonant portable tanks, we need this guy over here, the resonant flux capacitor, and we also need these resonant machine frames. So I did go ahead and teach our system how to make all of these things. It knows how to make, actually, almost all of these things. It doesn't quite yet seem to know how to make the, oh, 1 second. Okay, so I thought I'd already done this, but apparently I haven't, so I've gone ahead and retaught our system how to make all of these flux capacitors and all of the tanks from thermal expansion. And now if we head back to the overworld, we can go ahead and stick these into one of these ME interfaces, and now our system knows how to make all of these, as well as how to make all of these, excluding the resonant machine frame. So let me quickly head on back to the last millennium and teach you how to make that. The reason I've done that mainly is so that we can make the ender tank, but it also works out nicely for making things like the Magma Crucible and the fluid transporters that we're going to make later on in today's episode, because we can make the highest tier of Magma Crucible and Fluids Transporter. And where the heck did you come from? You came from down there. I think we've got a dead spot somewhere over here where mobs can spawn, maybe right up in these corners. But basically it means that we can make the highest tier of machines, which means if we want to, we can put all the speed upgrades in them and make them pretty much as fast as they can possibly be. Let me just throw a torch down like there, and that should stop all of the mobs for now. And also, let's go ahead and get ourselves it's a resonant, not an enderium. A resonant machine frame. I was going to say resonant controller, and that is not at all right. It is a resonant machine frame. We do need one more blank pattern in order to make that work. So we will take one of those, throw you in there, encode, and there we go. So now our system should know how to make resonant machine frames, and as soon as we get back to the overworld, we will go ahead and request a few of those for the machines that we're going to make today. And we did get quite a bit of enderium last episode as well, so it shouldn't be too big of a deal for it to make all of that stuff. Let's head on back over here. I also taught you how to make a few other things as well. If we look into 1 second, let me just request a machine frame or two. We'll request like 5 of those. We're missing Invar. Okay, let's teach our system how to make Invar real quick, which does mean we need some more quartz glass, which means I think we need some more Certus quartz, but we do have it, so we will go ahead and take another one of those. And on the line of Invar, I did teach our system how to make Electrum, which is just gold and silver in the alloy smelter, and Invar is pretty much exactly the same, apart from this time it is 1 iron and I believe 2 ferrous. Or is it? I think it's the other way around, actually. I think it's 1 ferrous and 2 iron in order to make an Invar, maybe? Possibly. It's a processing recipe. We'll put you in there, and then let me check this real quick. If I put 2 iron with 1 ferrous, and we don't have a lot of ferrous, so we can't be making too much Invar, but hopefully our quarry will rectify that. That does, I guess it's 3 Invar. We'll stick that in like so, and then we'll encode that. There we go. And now our system should be able to make machine frames without any issues whatsoever. Machine frames, Krapht. We want 5 of those. And what are we missing now? We're missing Electrum gears. Did I not teach our system how to make Electrum gears? What is this about? Let's take another one. Let's put you in there. Let's quickly teach our system how to make Electrum gears. I thought I'd done most of this between episodes. I think it might have... I didn't want to do that whatsoever. Let's quickly cancel that. I think it might have gotten rid of some of them, or I might have done it on a different save, but we'll put that into there. We'll encode again. We'll quickly head on back to the overworld. And then we should be finally good to go. Yes, we do not have that in there, but if we throw you in, we should now have everything we need. We'll head back to the last millennium, and hopefully we can make ourselves some machine frames. So, Machine frames, I want 5 of you. Next, start. There we go. Okay, the first one made almost instantly, which is great because that means we can make ourselves the Magma Crucible. This guy over here, like so. Nice. So that gets us the Magma Crucible, and basically what we're going to do, we're going to have this set up for everything. We're going to put this down under here. So I think for now, we will put it there. Yeah, and then what we're going to do is we're going to have a hole in the top, and of course I'm going to have to reconfigure this a little bit when we build the bigger tanks, because the bigger tanks are multi-blocks to take up quite a bit of space. But basically what we're going to do here is we're going to grab some fluid ducts, and we're going to pump everything that comes out of the Magma Crucible around and into the top of the tank, like so. So let's go ahead and do something like this. I think you do have to pump into the top of these thermal expansion tanks, like so. We do need a server, and I really need to set up a wireless access terminal, or a wireless access point over here in the last millennium, because I would very much like to be able to use my wireless access terminal as opposed to having to go back to the system every time, but that's fine. We will stick you down on there, make sure it's configured correctly so the orange is on the top, and then what we'll do on this side, so the left-hand side, is we'll set it to blue. We'll grab ourselves an export bus, and we will tell our system to constantly keep ender pearls in the Magma Crucible. And that's what that's going to mean is that it's always going to keep that tank there filled with ender pearls. So to do that, we are going to require at least one ender pearl in our inventory. We will hook that up right about there. We'll tell the export bus to keep it filled with ender pearls, and then we'll hook this up to the system using our smart cables. We'll throw you down there and there, and that should start to fill this thing with ender pearls. We do need to give this thing power, so I am going to use this tesseract for now. If we set it to frequency 1, that should give it power. And there we go, it's filling with ender pearls. Those ender pearls are turning into resonant ender, and that resonant ender is going around into the portable tank here. And as always, if we go back to our fluid terminal, we can see the amount of resonant ender in the thing going up, which is good. So now what we need to do is we need to make ourselves a fluid transposer. So the fluid transposer is the machine that we're going to automate the production of tesseracts. Hopefully that makes sense. To make that, we're going to need some copper gears. I'm not too bothered about this skeleton who's just aimlessly firing at me from the middle of nowhere. We will go ahead and take care of him right about now. Where the heck did you come from? Where the heck did you come from? Get out of here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of keep in theme with this like wall of machines we've got, and I'm going to stick this down right about here. And I'm kind of, I don't know. I was going to put it here, but I'm kind of skeptical as to how this is going to work with, actually that's fine. Yeah, we'll put that there, and then we'll grab another P2P tunnel real quick. P2P tunnel, like so. We need some more Fluix crystals. That's fine. We can request those. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the P2P tunnel kind of like here, just on the opposite side. And then I'll hook up any interfaces we have to the P2P controller so that we don't have them connected to this line here, because I have no idea how many channels this line has connected. And I would very much like to be able to know how many lines I have left at any given time. So we'll kind of put you there, grab our memory card, give that a quick link, like so, and then we need another interface to get all this stuff up and running. So we'll put you in there, we'll grab an interface, and then we're going to teach it how to make the stuff, is basically what we're going to do. So I'll put you there, and then we do have a few more ME Smart Cable, although we did request some more, so we shouldn't be in too much of a sticky situation, and we are going to need 1 or 2 covers, and I'm fairly certain that the covers from Forge Microblocks can kind of separate these out, and that is good because I do not want those connecting whatsoever. I think that should have worked. It says device online. I think these will connect up any second now, but basically what we're going to do is we're going to have that there, and then what we're going to do to the fluid transposer, apart from give it power, which I think we can do from the underneath. Yes, we can. Good stuff. And I actually think we have one redstone flux duct left, so this is kind of like perfect timing here. If I was to quickly check redstone, yeah, we have 1 redstone flux duct, so we are going to have to make some more of those, but what we're setting up right now will also allow us to automate the production of redstone flux ducts fairly easily, and basically we're going to make ourselves a fluid export bus, which does the exact same as a normal export bus, but with fluids, and that does require a formation core, and we'll take 1 of you, and we're going to do pretty much the exact same thing we did down there, but this time we're going to set it so that this fluid transposer here is constantly filled with resonant ender. And to do that, we are going to need a bucket of resonant ender, so we will take a bucket, and we will go and grab ourselves some of you, thank you very much, And then if we make sure that the back of this is set to blue, because blue is where the fluid goes, and we were to put the bucket into there like that, once this connects up, which I think this hasn't done yet, but might do soon. This one has connected up, so that's good. This is all ready to go. You can flipping get the heck out of here. Jeez. But this should start to fill up. There we go, with Resident Ender, because this is hooked up. What this is doing right now is it's detecting, it's pulling from that tank over there. You can see that tank is being emptied as it gets filled up, and it's making sure that this fluid transposer is constantly full of Resident Ender. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to have one of these for Resident Ender. We're going to have one of these for things like destabilized redstone. We might have one for energized glowstone if there are enough things that require energized glowstone to make that worthwhile, but for now, definitely Resident Ender and destabilized redstone. And now all we have to do is we have to teach our system. First of all, let's get a few more. We need some more Certus quartz dust. Let's request like flipping 40 of those. It's going to take a little while, but we are going to need that because we do need some more blank patterns. Now, we do have some patterns that are not being used in here. However, I would like to keep those in case we decide to use them in the future because they are valuable patterns. Let's try and make one or two more of these, and there we go. We do have just enough to make like one or two more, which is, I think, is exactly what we need here. So, Tesseract. Let's have a look. Tesseract. And it helps if you spell Tesseract, right. We need to teach our system how to make this. This is fairly easy. We did teach our system, or I did teach our system, how to make this stuff here, the fused glass between episodes, so we should be able to make that as well, and we should really upgrade our system to be able to craft more than one thing at once, because I think right now, yeah, we only have one crafting CPU back in the overworld. One thing we should probably work on is upgrading our system, and I will cancel these, to allow for us to craft multiple things at once, which just means basically make more than one crafting CPU, but that should start making some of that stuff fairly quickly. And then all we've got to do is grab at that fused glass and just stick it down like so, encode that, and if we stick that back in the overworld, our system will know how to make Tesseract frames. I'm going to go ahead and make a Tesseract frame because the next thing we need to do is a processing pattern, and basically we just need to teach our system that this equals an actual Tesseract. So we'll wait for that to finish. Let's head on quickly back to the overworld. Let's stick this guy into one of our molecular... Oh, that is not the right place at all. Let's go back to the overworld, not the end. And then let's stick the crafting pattern into one of the molecular assembler interfaces. That being this guy over there. Then we'll go back to the last millennium. And we should be pretty much good to go. We should be almost good to go. So are you done? You are. And we will just teach you that that equals that. Encode. This pattern goes into here. And now... Oh, is that right? I think that's right. Yeah, that's right. So now what we have to do is, if we go ahead and type in Tesseract, we can request a Tesseract frame full by clicking next. It will go ahead and take all the components it needs. It will make the Tesseract frame, and then we'll put that empty frame into this guy, which will always be full of Resident Ender as long as the Enderman spawner continues to work, which for some reason it is not, and I think that might be due to a lack of mob essence. Yes, we are going to work on essence. That's another reason why we're making these tanks as well, but we'll get to that in a second. But as long as we have Ender Pearls, it will be able to make Tesseract frames. And then finally, the last step, of course, is first of all to make some more patterns again, which does require some more quartz glass, which we thankfully do have. So we'll take another one of those. And of course, the final bit is just to teach it how to make the actual Tesseract itself, like so. And then we'll encode that. That's not at all right because it needs to be a crafting pattern, not a processing pattern. Change that to crafting, encode that, and that knows how to make Tesseracts full. And for probably the final time this episode, we will head on back to the overworld. We will stick this in one of these guys that has a spare slot, this one being you. And that's done. Now our system knows how to make Tesseracts. So if we were to head back over here and we were to request some, it should be pretty much good to go. Let's have a look here. Tesseracts. And if we were to request, like, 10, it's fairly happy making 10 Tesseracts. We can click start, and the system will go ahead and begin to craft all the stuff. It will start by making the frames. Once the frames are done, it will move on to fluiding them up in the fluid transposer like it's doing right now, and then everything should just work, which is pretty freaking awesome. So, let's have a look if we have what it takes to make the Ender tanks. These guys over here. So, some of them don't require Tesseracts. We should actually probably teach our system how to make these because we need a lot of machine frames in order for this to work. So, let's go ahead and instead do something like this. Let's teach you all the parts in between. We'll teach you how to make Eyes of Ender. We'll teach it the fact that we need some more flipping patterns. We should really get a system. Oh, come on now. We need to get a system that makes flipping Status Quartz dust a bit faster because we really don't have enough of it right now. We'll put that in there. We'll take as many of those as we can. You can go back there and we will try Ender Tank again. So we know how to make the Eyes of Ender now. Enderium ingots are really easy to make. We'll teach it that. Let me get rid of some of this junk in my inventory that we don't quite need on us right now. And we'll keep those down there. Then we'll teach you how to make these in code. We'll teach you how to make the glass because the glass is also fairly easy, and we will have to go ahead and teach our system how to make this stuff here, this hardened glass, because we don't quite have this yet. Most of the time, hardened glass is substitutable for fused quartz glass, but unfortunately this time it is not. So, again, we're going to have to get ourselves some pulverized obsidian, and we will most likely have to teach our system how to make obsidian, and we should probably also, at some point, let's just say that that equals, I think it's 4 of this. One, come on. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think that's right. We'll put you in there. Let me quickly check that that is right. It is. Possibly. Yeah, it's right. Okay, cool. We'll take that. And then we need to teach it that 8 of this plus 1 lead ingot equals the glass. Right? I think. Oh, no, it's... yeah. Equals 2. Okay. We don't have any hardened glass right now, but let's get some obsidian dust, and let's get that lead, and let's make it happen. So, we're doing quite a bit of automation here. We'll throw you in there, and we'll throw 1, 2, 3, 4 of you in as well. But, no, 8. But, in the long run, this should work out pretty nicely. We should just be able to automate pretty much everything we have, which will be absolutely fantastic. Hardened glass, 2 of you in code. Boom. And boom. Nice. So now we know how to make that. We can go ahead and request 1 piece of hardened glass because we need at least 1. Oh, no, we're fine. Let's teach you how to make this. And that is a crafting pattern in code. It knows how to make those. We only need 1 of these for each one, so I'm not too worried about teaching it how to make these. Although, to be fair, we probably could do fairly quickly once we get some tesseracts, which we don't quite have yet. But, oh, and I know why we don't quite have that yet. Because we need to get ourselves a transfer node of some kind, and we need to start pumping the, and I need to get my drill back at some point there, but we need to start pumping these back into the system, because right now, they're actually just staying inside of the fluid transposer here. So make sure that it's on the red side, and we'll just pump those back around. There we go. The tesseract should be being made, and there we go. Okay, cool. Let's grab a tesseract. We might as well teach you how to make these. Is that not right? Oh, it's tesseract frame. That is not right at all. Tesseract in code. It knows how to make those. We'll do this one here in code. It knows how to make those. And then finally, we may as well teach you how to make the controller in code. And now, we should be able to auto-craft all of this stuff. So, back to the overworld again. Let's stick these all into the interface. And we have, like, almost out of these. We're going to have to make some more of these at some point as well. But what we can now do is we can request all the stuff that we need. So, I think we need about 50, 60, I'm trying to do the math in my head here, maybe 66. I want to make a 5x5 by 5 tanks. I'm thinking we need about 66 frame. So let's type in frame here. We should be able to make all this stuff. 66 frame is a heck of a lot of frame. You do make 8 at a time, which is good. But we don't have nether quartz. So, what I'm going to do now, guys, is we have pretty much everything we need. You can see it's a long recipe here, but we know how to auto-craft all of the stuff in here. Our system is getting very advanced at this point. So, let's go ahead and let me check the glass real quick. What do we need for the glass? We're going to need, it's going to be like 4x4, so 16 times 4, which is like 40, 56, I think. If my math is correct there. 56. That one is more than happy to make. So I'll start that. I'm going to go away while this goes ahead and makes all this stuff. I'm going to get some more nether quartz so that we can request all of the ender tank frames. And I'll be back in a second. Okay, so quite a long time later, the system has finally gone ahead and made us 64 ender tank frames and 64 ender tank glass. And if my calculations are correct, I think we actually need 1 more set. So I think a total of 8 equals 1 more set of ender tank, not glass actually. We need 1 more set of ender tank frames, because I think we need 66 in order to make it actually work. So we really only need 2 more. I will request 2, but of course he does have to make 8. It might be a little slow because he does have to go ahead and make all of the enderium, which does take a little bit of time, but we can go ahead and set up the first one over here. So let's quickly go ahead and kind of dismantle all this. And we'll take you guys. And I also went ahead and set up another wireless access point over here. So now I can access all of my stuff. Oh, I'm out of range. I need to, I can access it. I just have to be really, really close right now. Let's have a look. Let's make, quickly make some wireless boosters so that we can access stuff. Well, I say quickly. Let's make 2 wireless boosters and get the flipping heck out of here. We need to find where the mob problems are because I'm getting quite a lot of mobs attacking me. Can I reach over here now? Oh, I can't. Oh, geez. Fine. We're going to have to fix that at some point in the future. But for now, let's go ahead and make this guy. So I'm thinking about doing 5x5s for each of these. And the way that these tanks have to be set up is the frame has to be made of this ender tank wall, like so. By the frame, I don't think the whole floor does. I think you can put some of the floor as glass, but the frame, I mean like this here, the outer frame. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that's right. 1, 2, 3, 4. The outer frame here has to be made completely of this tank, and then the inner frame can either be made of this tank or of glass. I'm going to make it out of glass because it looks kind of cool. And here we go. You can go like that. And apparently, oh no, yeah, I wanted to fill the top in here, didn't I? I was going to say, apparently I was like super misjudged how much we needed. And apparently I had 2 extra. My math must have been a little bit wrong there. But we'll put you guys down like so. And then, of course, we need the controller, the power tap, and the valve in order for this to work. And that is an important point, actually. This thing does require power in order to function, but it doesn't kind of use it in the way you'd expect. And I kind of talk about that in a second once we finish building it here. I did run out of juice on my advanced diamond drill whilst mining nether quartz not so long ago. And all of the parts that go together, so the controller, the power tap, and the valve, do have to go within the frame, not in the glass, like you might have them on some other multi-blocks. I'm not too bothered about as long as you don't attack me. You are fine. Let's go ahead and type in tank again, and then let's see if we have what it takes to make. Oh, we don't. What is this about? Did we teach our system how to make these? We did. Okay, let's craft 1 of those, which hopefully shouldn't take too long. It might actually take a little while because, again, it has to craft up that enderium. And then we also need to request 1 of those and 1 of these. Do we have what it takes to make 1 of these? We don't. Oh, that's annoying. We can make the Eyes of Ender on our own. The Tesseracts are a bit of a pain. We don't have the machine frame, which is also a bit of a pain. They're a flipping pain in the backside to make. What we seriously, desperately need to do is get it set up to where we can craft more than 1 thing at once, because that is something that is really going to bug me. And basically what we're going to have here is we're going to have 1 tank for enderium, 1 for the destabilized glowstone, 1 for mob essence, because what I want to do, one of the main things I want to do is get the mob essence out of these grinders, because the grinders produce mob essence when they kill the mobs, and then the auto spawner uses mob essence to create mobs. Now, of course, it uses more to create them than you get from killing them, but we can recycle a lot of that mob essence, which right now is just kind of getting destroyed. When this tank is full and it kills a mob, it just destroys the excess mob essence. So what I'll be doing, probably between episodes, is hooking fluid import boosters onto all of my grinders around here, so all of the mob essence from all of the grinders gets pulled out and sent through into one of the tanks. And of course, this guy over here, the one doing blazers, is generating free mob essence, because that spawner there isn't using mob essence to make stuff. So we might even be able to make this little system here self-sufficient without requiring the mob spawner in the overworld. But yeah, that's what one of the tanks is going to be. And then we have 2 more tanks over here. I might fill 1 up with water just to have a nice water supply somewhere, and I might fill 1 up with lava depending on whether or not we need some other stuff for other liquids. Are you done? You are. So we should now have the tank power port, and again, it makes 8 at once, which is nice for making all of the rest of the tanks, but not really good for when I'm just trying to make the one that I'm trying to make right now. And I think, again, this is going to require some enderium, so it's going to take a little bit of time, but that's fine. So we'll stick this guy down like there. We'll put the controller there. I think this fluid storage bus on the controller will work just fine. And then for now, what we'll do is we will put the Tesseract right there under the power tap so they can go ahead. Oh, no, we can't really, because the Magma Crucible does need power, which means we might have to go ahead and make some more redstone energy flux ducts. which again, I'm probably going to automate between this episode and next. I have set up another fluid transporter. This one will be constantly filled with destabilized redstone as opposed to resonant ender, and then we'll just teach it that if it sends one of these redstone energy flux ducts, which can be made fairly easily, if it sends one of these to the fluid transporter here, it will get back a fully functioning redstone energy flux duct, so we can automate those really easily. But for now, we don't have enough electrum or anything. This is going to be a pain. But yeah, I guess that's not going to work. I guess I can explain how the power system works. So you do have to hook these things up to power, which is unusual for tanks. Usually tanks are free for holding stuff, but it doesn't actually use power whilst it's holding things. So it doesn't like just idly consume power, which I think is kind of cool. It instead uses, I think, 1 redstone flux per millibucket that you transfer. So if you push a millibucket in, for every millibucket you push in, it will use a redstone flux. For every millibucket you pull out, it will use a redstone flux every time you do that. So it can be a bit expensive if you're moving a lot of millibuckets, like a lot. Like, it can get really expensive, but for the most part, it should be fairly easily. It shouldn't be too expensive. Let's make the final piece of the puzzle here, the controller, which hopefully won't take as long. Doesn't look... Oh, it does. I was going to say it doesn't look like it needs some enderium, but it does. Let's make a tin gear real quick. We should teach our system how to make this, but for now, let's just go ahead and make one because they are really, really easy to make. Like so. Boom. We'll just take like a stack of those, and then we will request the controller. And I'm going to wait for this thing to finish, guys, and I'll be right back. So I was in the overworld to make some more redstone flux ducts so that we could power the ender tank when I was flicking through NEI, and I came across these, the resonant flux ducts. And I need to ask you guys, are these new? Are these... I haven't seen these before, these resonant flux ducts, which can carry, by the way, 32,000 redstone flux per tick, making them 1 tier higher than the redstone flux ducts, but not quite as good as the cryo-stabilized flux ducts. And I didn't see these before. They definitely weren't in the original release of thermodynamics, but they look kind of cool. And I decided, what the heck, why don't we just go ahead and make them? I was looking for uses for the flux ducts. I was trying to figure out how many millibuckets it took to make one, but when I pressed U, it showed me the crafting recipe for the empty resonant flux duct, and I was like, what? But yeah, apparently these were a thing. Let me know in the comment section if you knew about them. But anyway, we do now have everything it takes to make the tank work. The controller is well and truly done, and it might still be in the system. Controller, it is. I will take you. For some reason, these only get made one at a time. But if we put that there, the tank does form into a nice multi-block. And then if we go ahead and do something like this and kind of hook this guy up to some power, and I kind of want to do this in a way that doesn't look horribly ugly. So I'm going to kind of go round, not like that at all. Wrong, nope, not even close. Get rid of that. I'm going to go round and down like this. So I don't have to break this kind of like outer ring. And now you can see this thing is filling up. You can see it can hold up to 1.3... what, is that right? It can hold 13.824 million millibuckets of resonant ender. So just shy of 14 million millibuckets of resonant ender. You can see we'll be using power for all of the stuff that is burning through here. This guy is probably the bottleneck right now at how fast this is being made. We could always go ahead and make ourselves some of the thermal expansion speed upgrades down here, those being these guys. I think if we got a newer version, this looks new as well. Igneous Catalyst, I haven't seen that either. We must have got a newer version of thermal expansion in the recent update that I have not yet seen. My sword's broken, but we could just knock him off the edge with that. Let's quickly make a few of these, because I kind of want to see how fast we can get our Magma Crucible up to. What are we missing? We're missing that. I think we need 2 of these. We need 1 for the last one as well. We'll take you. And then finally, we will go ahead and take you. Those things are actually surprisingly easy to make now that we have quite a lot of stuff. And then if we just go boom, 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 that thing is tearing through the number of ender pearls that we have. And this looks pretty good. Of course, we are still limited by how much these can carry, but it looks like it is being able to carry them just fine. And yeah, there we go. We can now hold up to just shy of 40 million millibuckets worth of resonant ender. What I'm going to do, guys, between this episode and next is build a few more of these. I might not build all 5. I might just build 2 more. 1 for redstone and 1 for the mob essence. And we'll hook all that stuff up, make sure everything works. But with that, guys, I'm going to end today's episode of Feed the Beast Infinity there. If you did enjoy the video, please hit that like button. It really does help out a lot. Leave a comment in the comment section down below, and I will see you guys next time.